Am I in the wrong for deciding to stop offering free childcare for my stepdaughter? I began my career with a work program at the local clerk of court's office during high school, and upon graduation, I was hired full-time. After dedicating 30 years to my job, I was eligible for my full pension at any age, which I took advantage of when my first grandchild was born. Since then, I have embraced the role of grandma daycare, caring for my 5 grandchildren, including an 18-month-old whom I look after from Monday to Friday, while the older ones visit during summer and school holidays. The situation with my stepdaughter and her boyfriend has been fraught with drama since before their baby was born. When she was just 10 weeks pregnant, they presented me with an extensive list of rules that I was expected to follow while babysitting. They insisted that I sign this document, or else they would not permit me to care for their child. While I recognized their desire to ensure the well-being of their baby, I made it clear that I would not be hurt if they chose to seek alternative childcare arrangements. Although some of their rules were somewhat reasonable, many were excessive and simply unmanageable for me. For instance, they required my prior approval for any visitors, restricted my ability to care for more than one additional child, and even dictated that my pet cat be kept away from certain areas. When they returned with a revised set of rules 7 months into the pregnancy, I reiterated that their expectations were incompatible with my lifestyle, and I encouraged them to explore other childcare options. 2 days after my stepdaughter returned to her job, she reached out to request that I look after Cullen the following day. I consented to this arrangement, but I emphasized that I would be providing care based on my own judgment, ensuring it was safe and appropriate. I made it clear that I would not entertain any complaints or accusations regarding adherence to their rules, as I wanted to establish a firm understanding of my position. While my stepdaughter seemed to manage well during her visits to pick up and drop off Cullen, I often felt as though she was scrutinizing my care. Although I found her inquiries bearable, her boyfriend's demeanor was consistently disrespectful. His behavior became a source of anxiety for me, particularly as the week began. He would often make a show of partially undressing Cullen, accompanied by snide remarks about my cat or my other grandchildren, and would conclude with comments that implied I was somehow at fault for the situation we were in. As Thanksgiving approached, tensions escalated. The boyfriend openly expressed his discontent regarding my plans to have all my grandchildren over the holiday. I firmly communicated that there would be specific days when I would host them, and they would need to arrange alternative care if they had concerns. When he came to pick up Cullen on the first day of my gathering, he was rude, despite the fact that everyone had enjoyed a day together. He made a disparaging remark to Cullen, moreover that they had no choice but to leave him in what he deemed an unsafe environment. I contacted my stepdaughter that evening to discuss the recent developments. I informed her of the conversation we had and emphasized that she had a 2-week period to arrange alternative childcare. During this time, I made it clear she was responsible for dropping off and picking up Cullen. I also stated that if her boyfriend were to drop him off or pick him up, I would not be able to accommodate him. The situation improved when I dealt directly with her. At one point, she inquired if I could care for Cullen until January, as they had found a new caregiver who would not be available until then. I consented to this arrangement, and she managed the drop-offs and pickups without any issues. However, on New Year's Day, I received multiple messages from acquaintances who shared a screenshot of a social media post made by her boyfriend. In the post, he expressed gratitude for finally being able to leave Cullen without concerns about his safety or neglect. While he did not mention me by name or make direct accusations, the implications were clear to those familiar with our situation. Ultimately, I felt relieved that the matter seemed to be resolved. Yet, on Friday, my stepdaughter reached out again, stating that the new childcare provider deemed Cullen unsuitable and requested that I resume caring for him. I expressed my sympathy for their predicament, but reiterated my discomfort with the arrangement. My husband and stepson believe I should reconsider, suggesting that the issue lies primarily with her boyfriend and that I should prioritize Cullen's well-being. My stepson also remarked that I might have a different perspective if the conflict involved my daughter's husband. My brother, who is 8 years older than me, has struggled to find his footing in life. Despite his efforts, he has faced challenges in his education, failing to thrive in school and not pursuing college. He attempted to enroll in 2 different trade schools, focusing on welding and mechanics, but unfortunately he did not succeed in either. Currently, he works at a gas station, which has become his primary source of income. Growing up, my brother and I were raised as our parents' only children, and they generally treated us fairly until we reached adulthood. They emphasized the importance of self-sufficiency, refusing to finance our education or other expenses. I took a different path by joining the military at 17, earning an associate's degree, and using my GI Bill to pursue a bachelor's degree. Now I am working towards my master's degree, and my husband and I have built a stable life together, including purchasing a home. As our parents age and face health issues, they have begun to make decisions about their estate, which has created tension between us. They have chosen to leave the majority of their assets to my brother, while asking me to take on the responsibility of managing their affairs. This disparity in treatment has left me feeling hurt and frustrated. When my mother recently needed a ride to a doctor's appointment, I couldn't help but express my feelings about their favoritism. My brother reached out to apologize, but I reassured him that my anger is directed at our parents for their unequal support, not at him personally. My brother doesn't have a disability in the traditional sense. His IQ is just slightly above 80. In our community, the threshold for being classified as disabled is an IQ below 70, which means he doesn't qualify for any benefits. Growing up, my parents tended to coddle him because he struggled academically and faced challenges with self-esteem. This led him to give up easily when things became difficult. However, he has made significant strides in his life. He manages to work, pay his bills, and even lives with a roommate, demonstrating his ability to navigate adulthood. Recently, I had a heartfelt conversation with my parents about the feelings I've harbored regarding the unequal treatment between my brother and me. They have always instilled in me the importance of self-sufficiency, pushing me to figure things out independently. At just 17, I enlisted in the military, fully aware that I would be on my own once I turned 18. While they provided for my upbringing, they never extended their support to my adult life, not even offering a wedding gift when I married. In stark contrast, they have invested in my brother's education and business ventures, consistently bailing him out when he faced financial difficulties. For me, this situation isn't merely about financial support, it's about the emotional disparity in how we were raised and treated. It feels painfully clear that my parents have shown more love and care for my brother through their actions. When I tried to express my feelings to them, they interrupted and dismissed my concerns, insisting that I am not entitled to any inheritance and that I should be more supportive of them. Their lack of understanding and empathy was disheartening, especially when they criticized me for not taking care of my sick mother due to financial concerns. Despite their lack of support, I have managed to thrive in my own life, but the emotional wounds from this disparity remain. After much contemplation, I reached a point where I felt it was futile to express my emotions to my parents. It became clear to me that they were indifferent to my feelings. I reminded them that as adults, they are not entitled to my support, just as they were never obligated to assist me. I made the decision to ask them to remove me from their will entirely, stating that I would not take on roles like estate executor or medical power of attorney. At this stage, I have no desire for any financial support from them and suggested they invest their savings in quality nursing care and professional estate management, as I can no longer be involved in their affairs. My mother was taken aback by my stance, questioning whether I would truly consider placing my parents in a nursing home. I told her by recalling how they had allowed their daughter to enlist in the army, exposing her to potential harassment just to avoid student debt. This conversation led to an emotional outburst from my parents, filled with tears and anger, but I stood firm in my decision and chose to walk away from the situation. In that moment, I felt an unexpected sense of relief wash over me, as if a heavy burden had been lifted. Now I find solace in my life with my husband, our home, and the exciting prospect of pursuing my master's degree. The weight of my parents' issues no longer rests on my should. They are adults capable of managing their own challenges, just as I have learned to navigate mine.
Thank you for watching. Let us know what you feel about the story. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that could become your next favorite.